see how long it takes. There we go. Sup, ladies and gentlemen, Aquilon here, and welcome back to each one of you. And of course, if you're watching this over on YouTube, please remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and click the link in the description down below, because it's always better when it's live. Of course, if you are watching this over on YouTube, you are literally just watching the Vault Archive. The Vault Archive? The VOD Archive, or the VOD Vault. I don't know which one I like more. I think VOD Vault. CDJ, how you doing, brother? Yeah, let's say you're watching the VOD Vault. Literally just keep that shit there so that it doesn't go away, because Twitch removes VODs after 6 months for partners. So I don't want my VODs to be removed. I'd like to have an archive of them, you know, in a couple of years looking back going, oh my god, that was my career. Whenever I'm off doing something else or whatever. So, yeah, it's definitely better to come watch it live. Every single Tuesday to Saturday, 6 p.m. CET. Nico Spider, how you doing? Cremmy the One, how you doing, brother? How's everyone doing? Good morning to you, Spider. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. I sense people are very excited. Why might that be? What could be the excitement for today's stream? I have a sense. I don't know why. Feels like people really want to see something on this stream. Could it be just my silky, smooth personality? Syken, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Not bad here. Waiting for the cinematic reaction. The triggering is strong on this one. But we'll see about that. Look, I may be DJing, but I'm at work, sir. Also, good morning. Tayslow and Final Fantasy, how you doing, brother? Scordo, how you doing? Happy to have all of you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys doing all right? Are we all chilling? Asman, how you doing, brother? Good afternoon. I hope the day was kind to you. I made popcorn for my enjoyment of the cinematic and the chaos that it may unleash. We'll see. I have no idea what to expect with the cinematic. I have been dodging spoilers literally all fucking day. So I have no idea. It's your beard that's captivating, bro? Dude, I know. The beard is magnificent. I know. My husband watched it with me and just nope walked away afterwards. That's all I have to say about that. All right. Lunari, how you doing? I have no idea, but popcorn is a good thing to have anyway. True. Popcorn is really good. It's really an underrated snack, I would say. Like, people always go for crisps, but I think popcorn is so much better than crisps. Also, while not very healthy, definitely the healthier option. Also playing Final Fantasy, waiting in expert queue at the moment. BH, how you doing, brother? Thank you very much for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just clicked to Twitch and see you streaming and leveling a bard in FF. So wait for dungeons like 10-15 minutes. Ah, this makes sense. So by the way, guys, I'm literally going to play an ad now for 3 minutes. I do this so that you don't get interrupted with ads later on, specifically when we're watching the cinematic. So if you want to go do something, grab a cup of coffee or some shit, go do it now. It's going to be about 3 minutes of ads, and hopefully you won't get any ads for the foreseeable future. It's okay till a certain point, then goes downhill from there, in my opinion. Kettle corn and cheddar popcorn. Yeah, I'd say... So fantasy, I would say, like I said, it's definitely the healthier option, but definitely not the most healthy, right? Betelgeuse, how you doing, brother? Wonder how you are. How are you going to be pissed? I don't know if I'm going to be pissed. Why does everyone expect me to be pissed? Am I not a nice guy that always says nice things about World of Warcraft? Like, am I always just pissed at WoW? Just automatically? Something new comes and I lose my shit. Is this how you guys perceive me? My multiple ad blocks? Yeah, sure. Hey, dude, if you have ad block running, I'm fucking happy. Because I am doing this just because there are people who don't run ad block. And if we're in the middle of watching the cinematic and someone gets an ad, I'm going to lose my shit. So I run it now so that people won't be in the middle of the cinematic and then someone gets an ad. It wasn't that bad. Psychen, how you doing, bro? I don't know. I have no idea what it is or what it isn't. I have no expectations because all can happen. True. Arab, how you doing, brother? Morning all. It still counts as morning if I just woke up. Yes. Doesn't matter what time of the day it is. If you just woke up, it's good morning. Go-kart. You motherfucker. Thank you so much for the what's up, dude. Really appreciate that. 2 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Morning all. I kind of liked most of the cinematic. On way to see Akko's take. I will, as always, be as fair as possible. Plain popcorn, last I checked, is one of the best snacks for being healthy, other than plain celery. Yeah, but plain celery is so fucking horrible. It's the most boring snack you can have. Sun Xerox, how you doing, brother? For me, popcorn wouldn't be healthy. Give you take it? No, we only just started streaming. Usually the way this works is I give about 20 minutes to 30 minutes for people to sort of filter in, you know, hang out. Most streamers would at this point have a starting soon stream or screen where people sort of come in, hang out, and wait about. I find them wholly unnecessary unless you're like some massive fucking streamer that can get away with it. Who the fuck wants to sit watching a starting soon screen like they're at the cinema? So I just don't have the starting soon screen. I'm the starting soon screen. This is what you get. You come in and you watch me sort of fluff about for 20 minutes while people settle in. Snow, how you doing? Shroomy, how you doing? Hey, just here. Didn't miss anything yet? Not yet. No. I'm a fat motherfucker, so for snack, I think I just eat an apple. I mean, my snacks consist of meat. So if I really need a snack, I'll get like dried meat, like biltong, or would you in the US would the closest thing to that would probably be jerky, even though it's not remotely the same as jerky, but it would be the closest thing to jerky. Kirill, how you doing, brother? Really curious to hear your opinions on the whole Arthas thing. Hey, I didn't even know Arthas was in the fucking thing. So we'll see. I'm really excited to see Arthas. I've been waiting for this moment for a very long fucking time. So we'll see. My snack food usually ends up being Cheerios or something like that. Bram, how you doing, brother? I'm happy to watch it with you. Hey, I'm happy to have you all year. Very happy to have you all year. We'll go through it and I'll be as fair as possible. Natalie Frost, how you doing? Like I am always. If it's shit, if it shits on the lore, I'll say it. If it's good or if it's relatively decent, I will say it. I go into this with literally zero preconceptions. I'm going into it completely neutral. I no longer have any emotions left when it comes to World of Warcraft, so there's no real emotional attraction or attachment for me. Sophia, how you doing? The Nerdy Cat, how you doing? There's literally nobody in my life who would give a fuck about the cinematic, so it's nice to have you. Hey, dude, that's why we're all here, right? Christopher, how you doing, bro? Be ready for the disappointment then? Everyone just immediately assumes I'm going to... Dudes. I'm like the biggest WoW shill you'll ever meet. What are you talking about? Like, no matter how bad the cinematic is, I am going to give it praise. You guys know me. It's all for the clicks, man. Hating on World of Warcraft is so fucking 2021. It's all about the clicks now. So I'm all for the cinematic now. I'm going to watch the cinematic and I'm going to be like, oh my god, best cinematic Blizzard have ever made. This is just who I am. You guys know that, right? Or about bro, you know whoever that guy is? Pretty much, right? Forward to reaction, it made me a bit sad. We'll see. We'll see. The one good takeaway from this entire thing is no matter how bad that cinematic is, I can literally right after that go play Stormblood and be very happy with that. I would like to know what builds up to the cinematic. There are much questions to ask. This is actually a very interesting point that you bring up, Amon. And I think one of the reasons... So, by the way, for anyone, if this does make it onto YouTube, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and write some stupid shit in the comment section down below. if this makes it into onto YouTube as a clip, let me point out, one of the main reasons why so many of World of Warcraft cinematics in the last 2 years have failed miserably is a lack of context. So think back to some of the best cinematics that you've ever seen in World of Warcraft. Think back to things like the Wrathgate. Think back to even BFA's cinematic. Think back to Legion's cinematic. Think back to all of the cinematics during BFA. Every single one of those cinematics that were absolutely mind-blowing came with an incredible amount of backstory. It came with context. So there was a massive amount of build-up until we finally saw the inevitable end. So, for example, Lost Soldier or Old Soldier. Do you guys remember that cinematic? Probably one of my favorite cinematics ever in World of Warcraft. And one of the reasons is because Saurfang is a very old character within World of Warcraft. So to see him basically relive in high definition all of his failures, all of his losses, all of his anguish and sadness was something that resonated with the player base because of who Saurfang is. You even think back to the cinematic where Sylvanas is standing in front of Orgrimmar and kills Saurfang. It hits hard because there's history there. There's a lot of build-up and context to it. So why is it that World of Warcraft cinematics since then have basically fallen flat? Look, the Shadowlands cinematic was quite nice. It was WoW. It was awesome. It was jam-packed with action. But it had very little that we could say was an emotional connection. Very little that we could say was an emotional connection to it. Again, because of a lack of build-up. Now, it got saved for the most part because of that Arthas old-school undead connection that it had with the world. But I'm not surprised that so many people are watching the cinematic and maybe feeling very, if not angry, maybe just a little let down. Because you're watching the cinematic, and I am assuming, based on the context that the Shadowlands have provided, that there is not much. And so you are effectively watching pictures on a screen with no real reason to watch those pictures on the screen. Imagine if I were to show you a very deep emotional scene of some anime or movie, but I give you none of the run-up. So I don't allow you to watch the anime or the movie from the start. I give you no cliff notes to explain how we got to this very moment in time. I just show you that specific clip. How does that feel? Do you think you'll have any real connection to the clip that you're watching on screen? Of course not. There is nothing there. I'll give you guys a great example. I'm currently rewatching Castle, the series. And there are some incredible comedic moments in Castle, the series. So the other day, there's this moment where I'm laughing my absolute ass off at this scene where Castle has this very quick quip. And then someone tells him pictures and he does this okay thing. And I'm just laughing at that. So I call my brother in and I'm like, hey, you have to see this. This is fucking insanely funny. Just come watch this. My brother sits here, he watches it, not one laugh. He just goes, yeah, all right, it's cool. And then he leaves. And I recognized in that moment, he has no connection to any of these characters. These characters to him is just a bunch of people on a screen doing something. What made it funny is because you know the characters. You know how these characters are supposed to operate. You know their personalities. So that is what gives the context for you to laugh at something. And World of Warcraft has lacked that specific thing for such a long time. So this is where we get into criticisms that I've loved against World of Warcraft right at the beginning of Shadowlands. It feels like World of Warcraft is hunting for big moments. Right? That's sort of what it feels like. It feels like they keep hunting for these massive, impactful, emotional moments. And no one has stopped to ask, wait a second, But don't we have to sort of build up to it? Like, maybe let's build up to those massive moments. And you could make the same argument for the general game at the moment. If you look at World of Warcraft, everything that is added to the game constantly comes for this wow factor. You know, they really want to wow the audience. They want to blow the audience out of the water. They want to do things that's just incredibly weird, like Sylvanas burning down a tree and basically fundamentally committing genocide. And the players are supposed to have these, oh my god, look at that, what the fuck? But the players don't have those reactions. Because there's no context. There's literally no build-up. There's no runoff, even. You know, that's the worst part. There's these moments that's supposed to be boom in your face, but then there's also no real runoff. So they don't even explain it in hindsight so that you can eventually see. I'm still perplexed as to why the tree had to be burned. I'm going to be very honest with you. We're at the end of the Shadowlands, and I still don't have a fucking clue why the tree had to be burned. Like, sure, to start a war, but then bomb one of the cities. Why are you... I don't understand. This was this massive moment that was meant to be in-your-face, giant, the start of something, and I'm looking at the burning of Yggdrasil, and I'm thinking... All right, we're now at the end of the Shadowlands, which is literally the event that started everything. And I still can't really explain the fucking event. Like, there's a million speculation theories about why she could have burnt down the tree, but there's no concrete evidence as to why she would have. They give me an explanation that it is Argus that took down the Arbiter. Why would Argus be in the Shadowlands? We know, thanks to the lore in the game, that all forces return to their own cosmic force upon death. So if Argus died, Argus would have returned to Order. What is Argus doing inside the Shadowlands? Why would Argus ever have made his way to the Arbiter? Again, no explanation, no real insights, no real deep dive. Where the hell is the link between Zuval and Sargeras? Again, no insight, no context, no explanation. There is a link. There is definitely a link. The Nathrazim is definitely the fucking link. But what is the link? The link makes no sense. This is the biggest issue within World of Warcraft. Jeline, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's a whole bunch of WoW moments. They keep chasing these moments of oof, oof, oof. I'd sort of, if we can step out of the game so that I can explain this. This is the equivalent of a relationship where imagine you're dating a guy or a girl. Your partner is basically emotionally dead 90% of the time. 90% of the time, there is no support. There's no real connection. There's just nothing. Your partner gives you nothing. But then 3 nights a week, they take you out to dinner and they do something really special and really nice, right? 3 nights a week. The rest of the time, dead as can fucking be. May as well not exist. They help you out with fuck all. They don't really give a shit. Yeah? How long do you remain in said relationship? The answer is not long. Because why would you? There's no... I mean, yes, the 3 nights is nice, but where's the rest of it? Why do I live my life as if basically single for 3 nights a week where I might get something cool? In World of Warcraft's case, it's like 1 night every 9 months, but still, right? It's not enough. You cannot replace context and sort of general storytelling with massive moments and think that that is going to make sense of anything. It simply isn't going to. Foreign, you fucking bastard with a tier 2 sub. Really appreciate that. 3 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jeline, why don't you buy our marvelous novel and comic? Yeah, well, I should actually. Like, that's all you can really do, right? Thanks for the first time chat, by the way. Really appreciate that. The thing is, Blizzard will have to step up their game in terms of general storytelling. You can't have big moments if there is no context that precedes and follows those big moments. They just don't really work. They don't amount to anything. So, yeah. Nixie, holy shit. Thank you so much for the 5 community subs. Thank you. Giving some love in chat for Nixie and the 5 community subs. You guys should absolutely send some hearts in chat. Like, Nixie was literally kind enough to give me money for hookers and blow. I mean, if that doesn't deserve some fucking hearts, I don't know what does. I'm gonna be pissed. Oh, yeah. Ralford, thanks for the first time chat. Do really appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Thank you. 3 minutes of gifted subs in a row. Prial, you're technically just dodging being subless. I really love that. Steve Denuser is a talentless hack. I don't know if I can blame Steve Denuser for this. I don't think you can blame Steve Denuser for this. But why must you use relationships for your explanation for everything? Because relationships are literally one of the most human things you can use. I could use a bunch of other explanations, but if there's people in chat who don't have any connection to the explanation that I'm giving, the explanation falls flat. Relationships work, because everyone has been in one, or at least will be in one at some point. The Lord Fiend, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat, really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you. Steve Denuser was responsible for the Hunter Orderhold story in Legion, and somehow that got him promoted, despite it being one of the worst campaigns. So, it all depends. If we're gonna blame Steve Denuser, we first have to figure out how much of this is on Steve Denuser and how much of this is just on World of Warcraft's general design. So I'll tell you guys what I told you guys yesterday. I think I said this yesterday. Did we speak about this yesterday? I want to say we did, but I might be wrong. World of Warcraft right now feels like a game without direction. It feels like a game that wants to do things, it just doesn't know what it wants to do well. It doesn't know really what audience it wishes to cater to. It doesn't really know whether or not it wants to have a story, whether or not it wants... Like, the only thing World of Warcraft seems to know for a fact it wants is raiding, PvP, and Mythic Plus. Outside of that, there's literally nothing. Now, the issue with that is if you're someone that is trying to write a story... So I'll tell you guys what I think... Neo, I haven't reacted to the cinematic yet. We'll react to the cinematic soon. If you're someone that... If you look at World of Warcraft, one of the things that stands out to me within World of Warcraft, it feels often as if the team thinks up gameplay mechanics, so really cool systems that they want in the game, and then they make it the user and the writing team's job to figure out a story for those things that they want to add into the game. Where that's not really how things are supposed to work. Usually, in almost all games, in movies as well, literally any form of media, even in paintings, if we want to go outside of, like, the world of multimedia, and we want to go to, like, original old school art, even with a painting, it usually starts with a story. The artist wants to tell a specific story, wants to relay a specific emotion within their works, and then they will set about to actually paint the thing that they're trying to paint, right? In video games, that is supposed to be exactly the same. You start with the story, and then you build the story out from within. Then you build systems that sort of support the story, but it has to start with a story. There are games where there are exceptions to that, of course. Things like first-person shooters don't really require a story, but even there, a lot of those games will create sort of what I like to call build your own story. So if you take a game that I'm currently playing about Foxhole, Foxhole is this giant world v world sort of PvP army game where you play against other people and you basically take over bases and you have to build tanks and weapons and all. Everything is basically player driven. It's like a massive MMO that runs in seasons. So you have a war and you have two sides fighting the war, and eventually the side that wins it resets, and I think then 2 or 3 days later the war starts again, and then everything resets, so you have to restart front lines, tanks, guns, mines, factories, the works. So it's a massive fucking game. But that game leaves you to basically build your own story. Why are we fighting here? What's the point? It doesn't have a story, but because of how it's set up, you basically create these stories in your own mind. But everything always starts with a story. What is it that you wish to create within the character? No, that is the best analogy, actually, because Morheim and Metzen were huge D&D fans. Metzen made his own 5e campaign. Wait, let me quickly see here. What did Amon say? It may be like that WoW is like a D&D game campaign a GM inherited, but had no notes from his predecessor what to do now. Maybe wrong comparison, but otherwise I could not make sense of some events that lead to nothing until now. Yeah, that is actually a very good analogy. World of Warcraft does feel like someone dropped the D&D game in the middle, and then someone else took over as game master, but they didn't have any clue what the game was actually about. And so now they're just basically grasping at straws. But I would say, until such time that World of Warcraft stops cutting content and Blizzard stops rushing product, I don't know if the blame can be solely placed on Steve Denuser. I'm not saying Steve Denuser is innocent, not by a mile. He may be very guilty, and we will see definitely in 10.0 if Steve Denuser has a fucking clue what he's doing. But I wonder if... I wonder how much of this is really on Steve and how much of this is actually just on Ian and the team, because they keep fucking rushing shit. They cut content wherever they can cut content. Now, you have to look at it as follows. Imagine you have a book. Yeah, I have not reacted to the cinematic yet, guys. Imagine you have a book. Yeah. I tell you that you have 10 chapters to tell your story. You go, all right, no problem. You start writing your story. You have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you're sort of fleshing out the details. Then, about 2 months before your book is due for release, I come to you and I say, okay, listen here. Actually, I need you to cut 2 chapters from the book. It can only be 8 chapters. And it can only be X amount of pages. So you can't just take those chapters and jam them into the previous or the preceding chapters. You have to cut them entirely. How do you finish your story now? Do you think that's going to be a very good book? You remember 2 of the chapters that is supposed to explain the build-up to the ending is gone. You now have to make sense of this story that you've written with content being completely removed and no amount of time to actually fucking get some of the story back into it. Can they both be shit? Well, the 2 chapters that you remove. No, they're important to your story. You can't just cut content and think that the story is still going to make sense at the end. And I genuinely believe that is exactly what happened in Shadowlands. Ian and his team cut an entire patch that Steve Denuser and his team was hoping to use to actually tell their story. This is why so many of us are currently running around going, what's going on? Like, we don't actually know. Like, I to this day have no idea if Zuval is actually the bad guy. Like, they're telling me he's the bad guy, but I'm not really seeing what he did that's so fucking bad. Like, they're saying he wants to dominate the universe. Again, I don't really believe that he wants to. Doesn't seem like it. In his fight, he pays little attention to the universe. He just tries to kill Azeroth. Again, I have no idea why he tries to kill fucking Azeroth. He shoots out these bolts that the player have to soak. Because if it hits Azeroth, it does huge damage. But why? What's this about? Like, do we know? Does anyone tell us? Why is it Azeroth that he wishes to kill? Is Azeroth the secret to the domination of the universe? Who fucking knows, right? And to me, if I am to assume competence, to me that reads as a part of the story was just completely cut out. And Ian, Denuser and his team just had to try and figure out, okay, how the fuck do we bring this story to an end with a whole part of our story now cut? We now have to figure out how to make the story make sense, and we don't have the time or the story to actually do it in. So, yeah, we just end up with this sort of weird story that doesn't at the moment make sense. Sad, but, you know, facts. Sure, totally understanding, mate. They should have let Danny be the figurehead villain as a build-up to Zuval. Oh, I would have loved that. That would have been cool. Partly because it was never done in-game before. The Nerdy Cat, I don't even know if they're actually trying to... I don't know if they're trying to copy Final Fantasy XIV. If they are, they're doing not even a bad job at it. They're doing an abysmal job at it. Because it's not even close to what Final Fantasy story is. The entire story of Final Fantasy XIV is completely narrative-driven. Like, look back. How many cinematics are there in Final Fantasy XIV, and how many of those cinematics are massive, wow, what the fuck cinematics? I would say for every 20 cinematics in cinematic that is, like, just normal dialogue cinematics, there's maybe one that's like, whoa, what the fuck, bro? Jesus. The rest is all narrative cinematics. It's cinematics that drives narrative, that push narrative forward. Zero Level, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat, really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, World of Warcraft has zero narrative. There is no dialogue or narrative dialogue that works at all. Zero Level, thank you so much for the follow, really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm not crazy when I saw parallels in Anduin and Estinian. I don't know. Mujnan, I've not watched it yet. We'll see. Final Fantasy, they're both different from the ground up. I mean, any game can copy anyone, any other game. It's just a matter of do you want to? To fight Final Fantasy XIV on his strong side is a thing that Blizzard better shouldn't do. They had a giant world build and could fight how the different local parties work out. That's a good point. World of Warcraft has always been good at world building, which is great. That's why most of us love it. Because it's a world that they build, that they lay out for us, and we get to play in it, you know? They sort of build the sandbox, and we get to play in the sandbox. Final Fantasy is more a narrative-driven thing, where they sort of show you the way through the sandbox. They allow you to play the game in whichever way you want, but the story, they lead you by the hand through the sandbox because that's the story. And maybe that is the thing that WoW should focus on, is don't try to do the narrative micromanagement of the player. Focus on building a world and just let the player dive into it, because that's ultimately what made WoW unique. Was that it had this giant world that we could speculate on what's coming next and how things going to happen, but it wasn't trying to individually tell stories and bog the player down in massive narrative-driven dialogues. And maybe they shouldn't even try to be that way. Cronin TV, thanks for the first time chat, dude. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel like the further the expansion progressed, the more Pyromancer made sense with these quotes on Steve Denuser. We'll see. I agree with Pyro that the real story... Wait a second, let me just quickly see here. Rat the Seagull, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I agree with Pyro that the real story ended with Legion. Everything that happened after has been donkey ass. I wouldn't say everything. The story in BFA was potentially alright. I mean, there was a lot of Old God stuff that was really cool. I would say the ending of BFA was what let the story down, not the middle bit. The middle of BFA's story was still incredible. I hated BFA and I still love the story. Would I play a 2D pixel art World of Warcraft? If the story is good, sure. I believe WoW have best story, but after playing Final Fantasy XIV for 1 month, I know I made a big mistake. Janine, you are not alone. Many of us woke up to it. The only people right now that think World of Warcraft is still an amazing game are people who haven't tried any of the other MMOs. Because all you have to do is try 1 or 2 of the other MMOs to realize, whoa, is this what other games are doing? Holy shit. Why can they do these things, but WoW can't? Consider the fact that there is almost no other MMO that doesn't have a housing system. Star Wars The Old Republic, housing system. ESO, housing system. WoW, no housing system. Final Fantasy, great housing system. Just small things that you look at WoW and you go, wait a second, what the hell? How can you not do these things that is so fucking prevalent in every other game? Honestly, how the fuck does the news still have a job? That new cinematic was laughably bad. Rather, I haven't watched the cinematic yet. We'll watch it in a minute. Tragedy, they could have made an expansion out of that content, not a stupid patch. I agree with that. Wants to hype WoW up, but he just makes me write him off as a clown. I love Mr. GM, so I really have nothing bad to say about him. Consider the fact also here that Mr. GM is not a story guy. The way he plays video games, World of Warcraft is really made for him. He likes that kind of thing. You know, just sort of thrashing about, farming and raiding. That's his thing. May I ask, why is your left hand wrapped? Did you hurt yourself? If so, hope it'll be a bit soon. Maria the Pigeon, how you doing? No, it's I don't really know how to describe how to explain it, but I'll try. So I don't have carpal tunnel, but I have something very similar. Where, because I'm sitting every single day and I'm making videos and I'm streaming, so I spend roughly 12 to 13 to sometimes 16 hours a day in front of my PC making videos and streaming and stuff, right? And so what starts to happen is down this side and this finger starts to die. Like, it literally just starts going numb and it will constantly have those pins and needles, literally just on this side. Nothing else, just on this side. Don't worry, I've tasted my blood sugar. It's all fucking perfectly fine. So no diabetes, nothing like that. It's literally just this side keeps dying. Now, it can be one or two things. It can be just the pressure of sitting at a desk. Your arm is constantly pressing on the table, and that kills the nerves that's supposed to run to your hand. It can also be on your elbow. So there's different kinds of people. Some people have their nerves sitting very deep under the skin and sort of meat, so those nerves don't really get affected as much. And then people like myself, the nerves are very close to the surface. So if I sit down for a long amount of time, those nerves start dying. So this just sort of helps. It's almost gone now, so I'll probably wear it for another. It's not like look, I can do everything right like normal. Yeah, it's not like my wrists are sore or really in a bad way. My wrists are fine. I can do everything. Look, none of that gives me pain. The only thing is, if I don't have this on after a couple of days, this entire side will start to get like these weird pins and needles. It's not quite pins and needles, but it's similar to pins and needles. So wearing this for some reason helps. Going to the gym helps a lot as well. So I do a lot of fucking exercises on my wrists and my arms and stuff to sort of strengthen this part of my arm, so that hopefully goes away. Going to the gym every day have done so much, dude. So for example, I sit literally on the best chair that money can buy, a Herman Miller. Yeah, I bought that Herman Miller because my back was giving me shit with every single chair that I was on. So I bought the Herman Miller, and I thought this is gonna fix shit, right? This is gonna make everything better. Nope, didn't make shit better. It was better than any other chair, but I would still, after about 4 or 5 hours, go, Jesus, my lower back is fucking shattered from sitting here. Now going to the gym, none of that shit, dude. Like, fucking none of that. I go to the gym every day. I come home. I can sit here for 7, 8, 9 hours even. some of our streams literally go to 9-10 hours of just sitting down, and my back feels fuck all. So I would say going to the gym is probably the best exercise I've ever done. Like, the best choice I've ever made in my life was going to the gym. Just take some DMT and do some push-ups. Works for me. I've never taken DMT, so I wouldn't know. Oh, yeah. Just had this like 6 years ago in the summer. I played all day, and when summer ended, my 2 fingers are just numbed. Then I go to high school after summer, and it's just numbing. Is vanished after 2 weeks. Yeah, you can either... So I don't have the option of not sitting in front of my PC. That would be another option. You know, just for 2-3 weeks, don't sit in front of my PC at all. But this is my job. So if I'm not sitting in front of my PC, I'm not eating. And I realize many of you might look at me right now and go, dude, you can go with a couple of weeks without food. But I would still at some point have to eat. Yeah? And so it is just... It's necessary for me to sit here and work. Otherwise, I would love to get up and go do other things. It would be great. I have an entire province that is one of the most beautiful provinces in the world that I haven't seen yet because, you know, work. Car crash, if I don't work out, my leg is way worse. One of those Chuck Norris home gyms. I love going to the gym, though. It's so fucking fun to go to the gym, though. Going to the gym every day, you see new people, you hang out, like, you greet people, you talk to people. It's just so much fun. So no, I wouldn't start exercising at home, even if I had weights in a gym at home. I prefer being able to actually go to the gym. All right. Do you guys think it's that time? Do you wanna watch the cinematic? Or shall I let you stew a little bit more? Should I pad my numbers a little bit more? Because the longer I sit here and not watch the cinematic, the longer I have how many fucking viewers I have right now. So I can boost my numbers. Big boy streamer fucking 5 head here. I could just use the anticipation. You can literally just sit here and go, yeah, we'll watch it soon, guys. 5 minutes, 5 minutes. In about 2 hours from now. All right, let's watch it. I prefer to do the raid. Hello there. Happy to be part of the boost. Harastius, how you doing, brother? Welcome, welcome, welcome. No, we'll watch it. Don't worry. I'm not going to let you guys hang out here for hours and hours if all you wanted to see was the cinematic. 15 years, I played a Korea online game called RO. All you have to do is farm card weapon experience. In that time, most quest in most Korean online games is kill 30 mobs A, then kill B for 30, and kill A for 60 again. Jesus, I would not be able to play games like that, Janine. Minion, thank you very much. I'm really glad that you enjoy it. We on last boss? Okay, we'll wait 5 minutes. BH is on the final boss, and he wants to see it as well. OG, the critically acclaimed MMO, RPG, Final Fantasy. Oh, wait. We are going to play Final Fantasy. I'm in Stormblood today. I'm literally in Stormblood. And I'm really looking forward to it. Because people say Stormblood isn't good. So far, I'm liking it. Also, for some reason, why do a lot of people not like Lise? What's going on there? Your job changing to Samurai? Not yet, no. No. Still Black Mage. Lise is not the fucking worst character. I love her character. No, I think Lise is an amazing character. I genuinely don't get why people hate Lise so much. We're Scion? How can you guys say that? Zutaluka, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you. I think she's not the sharpest tool in the toolbox, probably. But she's funny. And she's real, which I really enjoy about her. It's not that bad. Old man, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you. First time. I thought I had been here before. Dude, maybe this is just the first time you're chatting. I don't understand either. She's not the best character in that game, but she's not awful. More so when you compare her to WoW characters. I think she's a different kind of character, but that's kind of why I like her. She is more of a no-nonsense, let's stop talking about it, let's just get it done kind of character, which I really enjoy her for. Because most of the other characters are very sort of balanced and, you know, let's look at this from all fucking sides. And she's more just like, screw it, let's do it, we'll worry about it after. Plus, the dialogue between her and Papalimo, when Papalimo was still Papalimo, was so fucking amazing. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Right now, I love Stormblood. I love the fact that it feels a bit slower than Heavensward. It definitely feels slower than Heavensward. It feels almost as if they're preparing me for something massive to come. That's what it feels like as I'm going through it. And it's we're in the first zone for Stormblood, by the way. So it's not even as if I've done massive amounts of the Stormblood story. But right now, it feels as if I'm being... I get the same feeling I felt in ARR. Where the story is slow, but it feels like it's building towards something. And it might not be something that is literally in the game. Like, it's going to be in the game for Stormblood. But it feels like it's something that is important. And I should be paying attention here because it is coming. So that's sort of what I'm looking for. And that's what I'm looking forward to. Because I loved ARR. I do not get why people hate ARR so much. I loved ARR. It was just peak world building, in my opinion. ARR may not have had the incredible story moments that Heavensward had. But ARR, in its own right, did some incredible things. Quinn Mac, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As a new player to FF, I noticed the community is in general, to some degree, ARR bad and Stormblood bad, but I don't know why. Maybe they didn't experience... So, Quenmac, what I've gathered from the community, and it's very difficult with Final Fantasy players because they're very passionate about their game for good reason. But what I've gathered is they will say things like, Stormblood bad, ARR bad. What they mean is Stormblood bad, or Stormblood better than most other games, ARR better than most other games, but not as good as Heavensward, Shadowbringers, or Endwalker. So they use the word bad, not to say absolutely abysmal, Warlords of Draenor was a better expansion. They simply mean it to say it wasn't as good as the great expansions. For Final Fantasy. So that's sort of what I've started to gather from the general Final Fantasy population. It is exactly that. I find her lovely. She's my waifu after all, and only my waifu. No one can take her from me. Not even you, Akko. If you say so, King Julian. Preach for the best. I expect a tier story, and if it's not that, I'm disappointed. Yeah, but this is the difference, I think. Because not all stories can just be S-tier stories. Because not all stories are the same. Sometimes story is narrative. Sometimes story is world building. Sometimes it's narratives within world building. And you have to appreciate those for different things. ARR is by far one of the greatest examples of world building I have ever seen in my life. Heavensward did a good job of world building, but it had far less world building. If you look at ARR and the amount of hooks that was created throughout ARR in order to enable things like Heavensward to shine, Heavensward would have been nothing without ARR. Like, remove ARR. Let's do this quickly. Remove ARR and tell me what Heavensward amounts to. The answer is nothing. It cannot be anything, because almost every story for Heavensward started with ARR. But ARR wasn't supposed to be Heavensward. It wasn't supposed to tell the same story as Heavensward. ARR was supposed to set up the story. So it would be the equivalent to... What's that movie? Fuck, there's a movie that I just thought of that had very similar things. Fuck movies. Let's go for Game of Thrones. There are episodes within Game of Thrones that was better than other episodes. I think everyone can agree. There were some episodes that was absolutely fantastic, and then there were some episodes that was kind of, who gives a shit? Yeah? But the episodes that were kind of meh, who gives a shit, was there to enable the next episodes to actually happen. So it would tell the stories of what were to come. I'll give you a good example of stories that I genuinely didn't like. Most of the stories with Khaleesi I found rather boring. Until, of course, Khaleesi started to come into her own right. And then you realized, whoa, that was fucking hugely important. And I actually went back and I started watching all those stories for Khaleesi again. Just so that I could, know exactly what's going on here. Because, yes, they're bad, but without them, the good ones wouldn't make sense. And this is sort of what I think a lot of people miss or complain about with ARR, and maybe even Stormblood. We'll see how Stormblood pans out. But that's because Stormblood and ARR isn't supposed to be these massive, massive narrative-driven dialogue, crazy moments. They're meant to enable the ones to come. That's their purpose. That's what they're there for. Also, I heard from someone that Heavensward is kind of, or Stormblood was actually, what's the word? Stormblood was written by 2 different writers. Is that correct? Kimak, thanks for the 10, dude. Really appreciate it.
I have rarely time to watch you live, so I mainly consume your content. Keep up the good work. I'm looking forward for your opinion on the FF14 MSQ.
Dude, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I promise to keep bringing you my opinion, because I am loving Final Fantasy XIV right now. But yeah, you simply sometimes need those breather moments. And I love the fact that Final Fantasy actually have the guts to do it. So I will say, I think 7.0 is once again going to be one of those expansions that people aren't going to look at as fondly as they did Endwalker and Shadowbringers. Because 7.0 for Final Fantasy XIV is once again going to be world building. It's going to be building a new world. They're going to have to rebuild new stories. Now, I don't know how it ends. None of us really do. We know how Endwalker ends, but we don't know what the future of the story is. But I have a feeling that they're again going to have to take some time. It's probably going to be miles and miles better than ARR or Stormblood. They've learned so many lessons from those in terms of pacing, in terms of figuring out what works, what doesn't work. But 7.0 is probably going to be, once again, a slower expansion that takes a little bit more time because it has to build a brand new story that now will set off the next decade of storytelling within Final Fantasy. So I'm willing to bet that a lot of people are, again, going to look back at Stormblood and be like, not Stormblood, 7.0, and be like, it was fine, but I didn't love it so much. Just because, look, world building can be boring. That's true. The only people that really love world building are sort of like true lore geeks like myself, but also aspiring writers. I want to be a writer, so I love world building because it gives me deeper insights into a world that no one really needs, but I like it. But most people that love lore and sort of lore nerds, too much lore building can be a bit boring after a while, you know? SB Morris, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because it is boring. You know, you are building out a world that isn't right now going to make any sense and isn't right now going to count for anything, but might count for something in the future. And it will only pay off, say, 3 or 4 expansions from now. And most people that talk about Shadowbringers and Endwalker tells me that there are things in ARR that I'm going to look back at when I've played Shadowbringers, and I'm going to be like, oh, that makes sense. That's how fucking far ahead these guys are planning. They know exactly what they want and how they want it to play out, and they stick to it, which you have to give them massive props for. It's not, let's just be clear. It's not like they planned from ARR to know what exactly they're going to put inside, what exactly they're going to put in Shadowbringers, yeah? The thing is, when they started writing the story for Shadowbringers, they looked back at what they placed in ARR, and they were like, right, which one of these do we now bring to a head? Which one of these do we bring to a close? Which one of these do we want to put forward, take forward, remove? How do we want to play this, right? So they keep very close track of what exactly is. It literally is like reading a book, playing through Final Fantasy XIV. It feels like you're reading a book that was written by someone that wants to tell a story beginning, middle, and end, which is just absolutely fundamentally crazy. It's so much fun. What I often read is a writing advice that you don't need to explain in detail before it is needed. Little hints on the way. Very true. All right, my internet seems to be fucking out. So I do apologize if there's some jankiness going on. I'm literally waiting for it to settle down because it's either... Savi, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If it's really jumping up and down, that's because it's either Twitch or it's my internet, but something seems to be fucking up here. Oh my Jesus. What the fuck is going on? Savi, thank you.